Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabansi. We want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we got a pretty interesting show for you guys. But before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Now, I'm a little bit fired up from the previous video we shot. It all depends on when you guys are seeing these videos. But let me get into this video here. Now, you guys know that Gilbert Arenas is a very interesting fellow, right? Very interesting fellow. On the one hand, he'll say something, you'd be like, man, that was a good point. And then on the other hand, he'll say something else, and you're like, bro, what? And it makes me realize, you know, this is something I've always asked Marco, the co-founder of Dreamerspro. I'm like, I don't believe somebody can be good and bad at the same time. How can somebody be dumb and smart at the same time? How is that possible? Are people like, do people like this exist? Stupid smart people or smart stupid people? Because if they are, I seldom come into contact with these people. What am I referring to? Gilbert Arenas is a former NBA player. I believe he was an all-star as well. Hell of a player. No one has taken that away from him as a basketball player. He was cold. He was cold. But ever since he made his entree into the sports media landscape, he has had some of the most wacky takes you will hear anywhere on the sport of basketball. So what happened? This morning I was doing some research and I was at the I believe it was basketballnetwork.com is where I saw the basketballnetwork.net, basketballnetwork.net. And I came across this story. I went under the latest story section. And I saw a story, an article referring to some comments that Gilbert Arenas made as it pertained to why he believes LeBron is better than Jordan. And there are people that hold that position. It's not like as if it's something new. But the reason he gave absolutely floored me when I heard his reason. So what we want to do is we want to play exactly what Gilbert Arenas had to say here, and then we're going to come back and continue on with the show. Take a listen to what Gilbert Arenas had to say.
The reason that I feel LeBron is the GOAT is because during pressure times, he still makes the actual right decision versus what us fans and the public wants him to do. You know, and that's what separates, you know, him from Jordan and Kobe, where if you give Jordan and Kobe those Cavs teams, they wouldn't have made the playoff. They wouldn't have made it to the championship because Jordan would have just averaged 60 and said, the hell with it.
Now, what he just said, I think, was probably one of the single most idiotic comments I've ever heard Gilbert Arenas make. Literally ever. I mean, it was that bad. Did you hear what he said? That LeBron plays the right way. He gets other people involved. And if it was Michael Jordan playing on those LeBron teams, he would score 60 points and they would miss the playoffs and wouldn't go to the playoffs, but only LeBron. And I'm like, what are you basing? Hold on. God. Are you basing this off of because LeBron averaged rate maybe 1.5 more assists per game than Jordan and maybe 1.5 or 1.8 more rebounds than Jordan? This is what you're basing your argument on? I'm trying to figure out what's the precedent, like what's the basis of this statement, I'm trying to figure it out. What was that based on? First of all, let's look at that run, the 2007 run where people started saying that LeBron was an amazing player. And by the way, LeBron is an amazing player. I have him in my top 5. But it's these type of statements that totally fry the brains of younger fans and then come on the channel and start spewing all type of nonsense all over the comment section. Let's look at that 2007 run the Cavs made when LeBron James did the unthinkable. During that year, the Cleveland Cavaliers had a 50-32 record, which is excellent. They had a very, very good record, and they were a very good team. Are we going to dispute this fact? They were a good team, right? With a 50-32 record, that's a good team. 18 games above 500, you're a good team, right? But there are some LeBron fans. Some of y'all, man. Good Lord. Oh, my God, these people. Do you know what some LeBron fans would do? They will tell you that LeBron is a great player. Hear this. Because he was able to lead or help a team get that type of record. But if he loses, then they'll now tell you that he had no help. So what, did LeBron by himself win those 50 games, or did he not have a team? This is what they do. They argue out of both sides of their mouth, number one. And number two, they can never stay on topic. If you say A, they'll say B. If you say B, they'll say C. They can never argue with you directly. And this is why it's frustrating to argue with a typical LeBron James fan. I'm sorry, I got to give it to you guys. I'm not talking it up for nobody, baby. I ain't doing it. Let me get into it. That year, the Cleveland Cavaliers played round one. They played against the Washington Wizards. Sound familiar? The Washington Wizards. Do you know what their record was that year? The first round? They had a 41-41 record, a 500 team. In round two, they played against the New Jersey Nets. If some of y'all are laughing, did you just say the New Jersey? They used to be called the New Jersey Nets before they turned into the Brooklyn Nets. The second round, they played against the New Jersey Nets, who also had a 41-41 record, another 500 team. So the first two rounds of the playoffs, you're playing 500 teams. This is the most incredible thing I've ever seen with my eyes. Then in round three, he does something impressive when he beats the 53-29 Detroit Pistons. That was the first 50-win team they faced, which was the first challenge that he had in the playoffs. Then in the finals, he goes against the San Antonio Spurs, who had a 58-24 record, and we all know how that ended. Right? That's all she wrote. Then I looked at the Michael Jordan 1986-1987 season, where Jordan got swept in round one when it was the best of five. Well, Jordan lost that series in 3 games. Now, who was he playing against in round one? He was playing against the Boston Celtics with 3 Hall of Famers, 3 top 75 players with a record of 59-23 that year. Now, who was on that team? You ever heard anybody? Have you ever heard of the person called McHale? Have you ever heard of him? Have you ever heard of anybody called Robert Parrish? Have you ever heard of him? Have you ever heard of the guy called Larry Bird? That was who MJ was facing in round one, and he lost. And in one of those games, he dropped 60. And what did Larry Bird say after Jordan? We just witnessed who? In what? That's what they said about Michael Jordan. But now let me eat the Gilbert Arenas right quick and his followers. Y'all can call this hate. And I realize a lot of people that call this hate are people that can't think of anything beyond to say than just hate. They call facts hate. This is what they call it. Facts are now hate. Since they can't argue your point, they now call it hate as a way of dismissing or canceling your point. He said Jordan couldn't take subpar teams to the playoffs, but LeBron could. All Jordan would do is score 60 points and take his teams to the playoffs. Help me understand something, Mr. Gilbert Arenas. Didn't Michael Jordan make the playoffs the first year he got into the NBA? Didn't he make the playoffs the second year he got into the NBA? Oh, wow, look at the lights. Didn't he make the playoffs the third year, and the fourth year, and the fifth year? And it kept on going on, and on, and on, and on, and on, and on. Now, I got a question for you, Mr. Gilbert Arenas. Your man, that you was playing card or pool with during a playoff series, which to me is unheard of as a competitor. What? If LeBron could do that, how come he missed the playoffs the first 2 years of his career? Mr. Arenas, you said Jordan, all he would do is score 60 and go home. So the guy that you're saying can do something more incredible than Jordan, why did he miss the playoffs the first 2 years of his career? Mr. Arenas, we're waiting for your response, please. Hello, like Rob Parker says, is this on? Help me figure it out. This is what these guys do. It's either they don't have the information and they're arguing, or they have the information and are trying to dumb people down. It was a stupid comment to make. Because there you are. You just fell flat on your face. Jordan couldn't make the playoffs, but yet he made the playoffs every single year when he got into the NBA. LeBron missed the playoffs the first 2 seasons. Help me figure it out, Mr. Arenas. Let's figure it out together. Boy, oh boy. You know, I've been told you never played the game. This other bozo to be riding me like the desperado. I don't even know what you call this dude. No pause. He be like, I don't understand this dude. I don't know. No, you never played the game. I coached the game. You don't look like you played the game, boy. I played the game. I coached the game and all of this stuff. Meanwhile, he played in the NBA and see what he's saying. So what's your point? It's your man. This y'all man right here.